Hey y'all, Jamie here, 54-year-old proud trans woman from New Orleans, Louisiana. So, gotta admit, this is my second time doing this video. Apparently, I might have been too graphic. So, let's try this again, shall we, y'all? Okay. When I left off, I had gone with my two friends, Terry and Tracy. And we had gone to an apartment with three boys who all had girlfriends that worked with me at Papa Joe's. And one of the boys was named Bob Jackson. And Bob Jackson was drop dead gorgeous. And his girlfriend was named Lisa. And I knew the first time I saw Bob that he was trouble for me. Like, I just knew he would be personal trouble for me. So I was trying to stay out of their little whatever their little tryst was turning into, you know, their little tete-a-tete. And the girls left. I went to the bathroom. The girls left. I walked out of the bathroom, and there is Bob. Gorgeous as the day he was born. Naked as the day he was born. Blessed. I'm sure not as blessed as the day he was born. Way more. I'm very excited to see me. Yeah. He didn't say a word. He just looked at me, smiled kind of a wolfish smile, and he walked straight up to me, picked me up, threw me over his shoulder like a caveman, and carried me into the bathroom and shut the door behind us. Then he bent me over the sink and started like tearing my clothes down and off of me. And it was a mini skirt and a little tiny top. It was very easy access. It was the 80s. You can imagine, you know. And I was a little hooker, you know, let's be real. I was a little hooker, so there was that. And Bob looked over my shoulder into the mirror, and he said, "Look at me." And our eyes locked in the mirror. And he said, "Tell me to stop." And I couldn't say anything. And he said, "Come on, tell me to stop." I couldn't. I absolutely could not. And I wanted to, well, no, I didn't really want to. I knew I shouldn't, but I did. And we did. And I, you know, not proud of it. Look, I'm not proud of it. But in those days, all of us were like a bunch of hamsters in a cage crawling all over each other. Like, you're talking about a pack of teenagers in the French Quarter, and, you know, monogamy and being faithful, you know, if those are the stories you're looking for, that just wasn't in our circles, really. Not in those days. Not in those days. Monogamy and real relationships and stuff came later on in life, but in those days, come on. We were a bunch of kids winging it, and we were all in the sex game, and you know, I mean, it was wild. It was wild. It was more Boogie Nights than it was, you know, than it was what's a good one? Oh God, Saved by the Bell. It was not Saved by the Bell, okay? So, anyway, things got very, very tense at Papa Joe's for me because of what happened. Lisa and I obviously became enemies very immediately, very strong enemies. And Damon wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I couldn't work at Papa Joe's. And I walked up to the bartender and I said, "You can take this queer ass job and shove it up your ass. I've got to go somewhere else. I'm going to work with the real girls." Yeah, I was that full of myself, and I thought I was that real. And in New Orleans, look, there's a lot of straight strip clubs. There are the cis girls work and the dolls work with them, and nobody's the wiser. And I knew that those jobs were available. So I walked out of Papa Joe's, walked up Bourbon Street to Iberville, hooked a left, went over to Charters, and at Iberville and Charters, I found myself at the Jazz Quarter, which would later become the My Oh My. And I walked into the Jazz Quarter, and there was the owner, J.A. Gambino. Yeah, if you think that the name J.A. Gambino sounds kind of mafiosa, kind of La Familia, you know, not gonna say it, but y'all, hello, the name, hello. Anyway, and he owned a strip club, and it was in the quarter. Anyway, yes, it was crooked. So he took me in his office, and he said, if you want a job here, you have to bend over in front of me, naked, not naked, but in a G-string, and show me that you can't see anything between your legs. And if I can't see anything between your legs, then you've got a job. So, as awkward as it was, we were in fluorescent lights in an office. It was very awkward. I took off my clothes, stripped down to my G-string, turned my little skinny teenage butt around in front of him, and I bent over. And if you want to know what happened next, y'all know the routine. Be here tomorrow, and so will I. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the comments. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.